I think what gets me every time I watch that genie video is just that idea that she was able to obtain all of that vocabulary. And it's like you're kind of watching it thinking, all right, she's learning. They're surprised by how much she could learn. But then in the end, she couldn't use it. She couldn't string it together meaningfully. So it's like she was missing that grammatical structure element of language. And so learning all that vocabulary didn't help her communicate. And so it definitely, like I said, there's such limited research on it, so you can't say for sure, but it does definitely speak to this idea that there's just this window of time where if you don't learn it, if you don't have this typical interaction socially, you won't ever be able to effectively communicate. Moving on from that, this family interaction and language development, this talks about motherese. Motherese is kind of what we would call, quote, baby talk. So when we use that exaggerated intonation and stress or that high pitch, it's like, hi, baby. Those kind of things. Can mama have a kissy kiss? Um, those kind of things we find ourselves doing to children, and it's like, where did that come from? Interestingly enough, research shows that across gender, across culture, across languages, this is really common. So it seems to be innate. But there are some people that would discourage it. So this question I had is, what do you think? Do you think that baby talk or motherese is damaging to children? Here is what I've come to understand through experience and through some research that I'll get into next. I don't know that it's damaging. I don't think you can only speak to your child in baby talk and motherese and then expect them to talk normal or typical if they never hear anything typical. Because as you know, if you're spending time with young children, they're kind of little parrots. They say what you say and how you say it right back at you. And so I don't think it's damaging. I remember talking about it in school, and even as I've taught this course, students have told me, I work in this daycare, and the director says we can't talk like that. I think the point they're getting at is that we want children to have these big vocabularies, and so we need to give them opportunities to learn words. We need to just speak to them, excuse me, typically, until they can learn. And I think that's the angle. As a mom, as a speech therapist that has done this, I would say really you can do both, especially with your own children. And here's a couple reasons why. This first one, this research that was done in 1995, what they really discovered was this implication that essentially it's not only the amount, the quantity of vocabulary, the words that you use, it's the quality of the communication interaction that makes it sink in, that really shape development. And so whether you're the mother or the caregiver or the teacher, whatever you need to do that's typical for that age group to connect with them, that quality of interaction, that is what's going to take them to the next level. We are social beings. And so that's when I think it can't be all bad, right? I use it with my children. I've used it with younger kids to get their attention or to hold their attention or to kind of find this commonality to make them giggle, whatever, because I need that to move forward in my best intervention. Data shows that, and I just think we innately know that. And I use it with my children, but I don't use it all the time, and they're doing just fine. They talk my ears off. So definitely, when you're in a situation, I wouldn't argue with someone, especially your boss, if they're saying that. But just know that occasionally, what do I want to say, in a balanced way, know that there has to be some, what do I want to say, some give in that, and that whatever you need to do, whatever age group you're working with, if you're working with all infants, you're probably going to be talking a little bit more like that because that's what they respond to. That's when they hold you. That's when they do that joint attention, looking at you and stuff. If you're working with 10-year-olds, you're probably not using it as much. It's just more about that social connection that can help shape their development. Okay, in summary of these bases of language, we've looked at the physiological, the cognitive, and the social basis, or the how, the what, and the why. When you think of these bases of language, you just need to remember that they're all necessary, but they're not sufficient on their own. So they need each other, which would lead to, again, that connectionist theory, which is the one I subscribe to, is that it's definitely all connected. And so you can't just have one and have completely typical language and language development. As always, please stop here and email me with your questions about this lecture, and then make sure that you go ahead and take your Chapter 3 quiz, and then look on toward Chapter 4. And I will have a lecture coming on that. You can also go ahead and take that Chapter 4 quiz. It's from your book. And I'll see you next time.